The galaxy was old and cold. It did not care who lived or who died. Stars burned. Empires rose. Empires vanished. Only power mattered. For thousands of cycles, the Varkal Dominion believed they understood this truth better than anyone. They were not kind. They were not cruel for pleasure. They were efficient. They conquered, stripped worlds of value, and moved on. Kether was born under a red sun on a mineral-rich world called Veshana. It was a harsh planet, but it was home. Towering cities of black stone covered the land. The sky was always filled with ships. The Dominion had ruled there for centuries. Kether served as a data overseer, not a warrior. He studied star maps and supply lines. War to him was distant, something that happened far away. Until the alarms came. At first, they thought it was a border raid, minor, contained. The Dominion had enemies, but none strong enough to strike Veshana itself. That belief lasted exactly 7 minutes. The sky broke open. Massive shapes fell out of warp above the planet. Not ships, something worse. Weapons shaped like moons, black and silent. Defense fleets launched, proud and fast. They died before firing a single shot. The enemy weapons did not dodge or chase. They erased. Entire fleets vanished in white fire. Cities began to burn as gravity weapons struck the surface. Buildings folded in on themselves. The ground cracked like thin glass. Billions screamed at once. Kether ran. He ran through shaking halls as the data towers collapsed behind him. He felt the heat of the sky through the walls. The air tasted of metal and death. This was not war. This was punishment. The Dominion command. Channels filled with panic. Orders conflicted. Fleets were recalled too late. Allies went silent. Then came the final truth. The attack was not from an outside enemy. It came from within. A rival faction of the Dominion had made a deal. They had sold Veshana, traded an entire world for power and safety. Kether learned this from a dying signal burst. Short, broken. Enough. The galaxy rewarded betrayal. As the planet began to tear itself apart, evacuation orders finally came. Too few ships. Too much fire. Kether reached a small escape vessel, not meant for long travel. Barely enough fuel to jump once. He looked back as the ground split open. Veshana's core ignited. The red sun reflected in the firestorm. His world ended in silence. The ship junked. When Kether woke, time had passed. The stars outside were unfamiliar. His systems were damaged. Life support was weak. He drifted. Days became shadows. Pain came and went. Grief stayed. The galaxy felt larger now, and far more empty. Eventually, his ship detected signals. Faint, old, not military, not trade lanes, a fringe region. Ignored space. Kether almost changed course. Nothing important ever lived there. Only small worlds. Weak species. Then he saw the data. One system showed signs of recent construction. Primitive defenses. Crude satellites. No real fleet presence. The species was young. Their technology was clumsy. Their reach was short. The files named them .humans. Kether felt nothing at first. Just tired acceptance. Another weak race. Another future ruin. But something was wrong. Scans showed damage. Scorch marks. Orbital debris. And yet, one signal still burned steady on a distant colony world. Not a city. Not a fleet. Just one life sign. Alone, Kether stared at the data as his ship drifted closer. The galaxy had taken everything from him. Now it was showing him something unexpected. A small world. A dead colony. And one surviving human signal that refused to fade. He did not know why, but fear crept into his thoughts. Because in a galaxy where the weak always died, something was. Still standing, Kether's ship drifted at the edge of the system. He did not rush closer. Experience had taught him caution. The colony world below was scarred. Large sections of land were blackened. Cities were broken into silent ruins. Orbit was filled with debris from destroyed stations. This place had been attacked. Recently, Kether searched for enemy fleet markers. There were none. No war signatures. No active shields. Only the signal. One human life sign. Steady. Unmoving. That made no sense. In the galaxy, survival was a matter of numbers. Fleets, armies, supply lines. No species endured alone, especially not humans. Kether had studied them once. Long ago, they were classified as insignificant. Physically weak, short-lived, emotion-driven. Not worth conquest yet. They broke under pressure. That was the belief. Kether adjusted his sensors and focused on the surface. The signal came from the ruins of a defensive structure. Primitive. Built from layered metals and concrete, crude, inefficient, and still standing. Radiation levels were high. Atmospheric toxins lingered. Any Varkal would have died within hours. Most species would have fled long before, yet the signal remained. Kether felt something tighten in his chest. A feeling he did not like. He launched a probe. The probe descended through broken clouds. As it passed lower, the damage became clearer. This was not a clean invasion. This was a brutal one. Alien weapons had struck hard. But they had not erased everything. They had fought something that fought back. The probe's feed showed trenches dug by hand. Burn marks from weapons far weaker than standard alien arms. Traps made from wreckage and collapsed walls. This was not advanced war. This was stubborn. Survival. The probe reached the structure. Inside, the air was thin and poisoned. The temperature was unstable. Life support systems were failing. And still. Movement. The human was alive. Kether watched as the feed caught a glimpse of the figure, wounded, wrapped in torn armor and cloth. Blood dried across exposed skin. The human moved slowly. Every motion cost effort, yet the eyes were open, alert. Focused. The human was not hiding, not sleeping, not waiting for rescue. They were preparing. Kether checked the colony records again. This outpost had been abandoned days ago. Evacuation failed. All other life signs had gone dark. This human had been left behind. In the galaxy, abandonment meant surrender to death. No one fought after that point. No one wasted energy on a lost cause. Except this one. The probe detected spikes in neural activity. Not panic. Not despair. Resolve. Kether had no direct word for it. His species did not feel this way. To the Varkal, pain was a warning. Fear was a command to withdraw, but the human's body told a different story. Damage readings were extreme. Broken bones. Internal bleeding. Exposure sickness. The human should not have been conscious, yet the signal grew stronger. The human adjusted something on a weapon. Not advanced. Barely functional. But modified. Changed. Adapted. Kether realized something then. Something cold and heavy. This human was not surviving because conditions allowed it. They were surviving because they refused to stop. Pain did not weaken them. It sharpened them. Loss did not end their fight. It became fuel. Kether pulled the probe back. His hands trembled. If an enemy fleet returned, if the attackers came back to finish the job, this human would not surrender. The galaxy had taught Kether that the weak always died. That strength came from power and numbers. But as he stared at the lone signal on his screen, a dangerous thought formed. What if the galaxy had misunderstood humans completely? Before he could act, long-range sensors flared to life. Warp. Signatures. Multiple. An alien warfleet was entering the system, and they were heading straight for the human colony. The alien warfleet arrived without fear. Their ships were sharp and clean. Their weapons were bright and precise. They had destroyed worlds like this before. From orbit, the colony looked dead. No cities, no shields, no fleet. The commanders felt bored. Scans confirmed what they expected. No organized defense, no heavy weapons. Only ruins and heat scars from a past fight, and one life sign. A single human. The fleet marked it as a delay, not a threat. Ground forces were deployed, light units first. Enough to erase the signal and move on. Dropships pierced the clouds and landed near the ruins. Armored troops advanced in clean formations. Their sensors swept the ground. Nothing moved. The silence felt normal. Dead worlds were always quiet. The first explosion came from below. The ground collapsed under a heavy unit. Metal screamed. The alien vanished into fire and debris. Before the others could react, more traps triggered. Walls fell. Hidden charges detonated. The formation broke apart. Alien weapons fired wildly. Plasma burned empty air. The enemy was not visible. Kether watched from orbit, stunned. This was not random destruction. This was planned. The human was guiding the battlefield. More ground units pushed forward. Heavier armor. Better shields. They moved slower. That was the mistake. The ruins came alive. Wires tightened. Doors slammed shut. Old machines, once broken, roared back to life for seconds at a time. Enough time. Alien soldiers began to fall one by one, not from powerful weapons, from precision, from patience. The human struck fast, then vanished. Always close. Always personal. Alien biology was not built for close combat. They relied on range. On distance. The human denied them both. Casualty reports climbed. Commanders grew irritated. They blamed poor tactics. Faulty troops. More units were sent. Hours passed. Then days. The single life sign never stopped moving. The colony became a maze of death. Paths that looked safe were not. Shelter became traps. High ground became a weakness. The human learned with every encounter. Alien habits. Alien reactions. Alien fear. Yes. Fear. Kether saw it in the data. Heart rate spiking. Formation errors. Delayed responses. The aliens were afraid of one human that thought should have been impossible. Orbital. Commanders decided to end it. Heavy bombardment was authorized. No need to save the colony now. The sky burned. Energy weapons struck the surface. Again and again. Entire sectors turned to glass. Shock waves rolled across the land. When the bombardment stopped, the commanders felt satisfied. No life could survive that. Scans began. No signal. Relief spread through the fleet. Then movement. A faint reading. Weak. But there, the human had survived by going deeper. Below the ruins. Below the fire, into the broken bones of the planet. Kether felt a chill. He had seen worlds die. He had seen brave stands fail, but this was different. The human emerged. Hours later, burned, bleeding, armor, barely holding together. Still moving, still hunting. The next alien unit sent. Down never reported back. Then another vanished. The commanders stopped laughing. They stopped underestimating. And for the first time, a new order was spoken across the fleet. Do not engage alone. Kether stared at the screen, heart pounding. This was no longer a cleanup mission. This was becoming something else. The alien fleet had come to erase a weak species. Instead, they had awakened something stubborn and angry, and the human was not done yet. The alien commanders refused to believe the truth. One human could not cause this level of loss. It went against every rule of war they knew. From their perspective, the problem was simple. Poor coordination, overconfidence, bad terrain. They laughed at the reports that the human was injured, alone, using broken tools. This was not a warrior. This was a mistake that had not been erased yet. New orders were issued. No more caution. Overwhelming force would end this. Heavy assault units descended next. Tall armor, thick shields. Weapons designed to melt bunkers. They advanced in straight lines, slow, confident. The human watched from the shadows. Kether could see it now. The pattern. The aliens moved like machines. Perfect drills. Perfect timing. Predictable. The human did not charge, did not rush. They waited. The first heavy unit stepped into an open area. The ground held. The second step triggered everything. Explosions. Tore through armor joints. Not enough to destroy. Enough to slow. Then the human struck. Not from the front, from below. From behind. The footage was brief and unclear. But the result was not. A unit went silent. Then another. Alien commanders scoffed at the losses. Numbers still favored them. They sent more. This time, aerial drones flooded the ruins. Sensors filled the sky. No place to hide. The human adapted. Wreckage was dragged into new shapes. Heat signatures were masked. Old energy cells were turned into distractions. Drones chased false targets. Signals overlapped. Targeting failed. The human moved through chaos they created. Hours passed. Then more. Losses continued. Kether watched alien behavior change. Voices grew sharp. Orders repeated. Fear crept in again. But pride was stronger. The commanders broadcast their confidence across the fleet. This was entertainment now. A lesson for lesser species. One human against an empire. They joked that the human fought like an animal, driven by instinct, by rage. They were wrong. The human fought with memory. Every destroyed building had once held people. Every broken corridor was once safe. Every scar on the ground was a reminder. Pain guided their hands. The commanders ordered a trap. They left a path open. A clear route toward a fake command post. They waited. The human took the bait. So they thought. The trap closed. Energy walls rose. Weapons locked on. The human was surrounded. The commanders celebrated early. Then the human triggered the final charge hidden in the ruins. The blast did not kill the human. It shattered the ground. The entire zone collapsed into the depths below. Alien units fell screaming into darkness. The human fell with them. Scans lost the signal. Silence. Returned. The fleet relaxed. It was over. Kether did not move. He had learned better. Minutes passed. Then the signal returned. Weak. Broken. But alive. The human was still breathing beneath the rubble. For the first time since Vishona burned, Kether felt true fear, because the aliens were still laughing, and they had not yet realized what kind of enemy they were facing. The alien fleet tightened its grip on the colony world. Laughter faded, but pride remained. They believed the worst was over. The human signal was weak now, barely there. Broken bones. Low blood levels. Fading heat. To the alien commanders, this meant victory was close. No being could survive much longer like that. They were wrong. The human crawled out from the wreckage hours later. Armor fused to skin, one arm barely working. Breathing uneven, still moving, Kether watched in silence. Every rule he knew was failing. Aliens deployed elite units, veterans, perfectly trained. Never defeated. They advanced carefully. Slow steps. Weapons raised. The human did not retreat. Instead, the human changed the fight. They stopped defending the ruins. Stopped waiting. They began attacking supply lines. Energy cells vanished. Ammo stores exploded. Landing zones collapsed. Small actions. Precise actions. Alien units began to run low on power. Shields flickered. Weapons failed at critical moments. The human used alien tech now, crude at first. Then smarter, Kether saw it clearly. The human learned faster than the aliens could adapt. Pain slowed their body, but it sharpened their mind. An elite unit cornered the human near a collapsed tower. Scans showed no escape. The commanders leaned forward. The human charged, not away. Toward them. Explosions followed. Close range. Violent. The unit vanished. Shock rippled through the fleet. Orders turned chaotic. Units hesitated. Formations broke. Human was no longer reacting. They were controlling the battle. Alien casualties crossed an impossible line. The commanders argued. Retreat was discussed. Then the human did something no model predicted. They reached the Planetary Defense Corps. Old. Damaged. Forgotten. The human rerouted power manually.
Burning flesh.
Melting circuits. The defense cannons woke up, one by one. Orbital fire tore through the sky. Alien ships burned. Fell. Panic spread. The fleet had come to dominate. Now it was bleeding. Kether's sensors screamed warnings. The human was dying. Internal systems were failing. Heart rate unstable. Still, the human fought. The last alien flagship attempted to flee. Engines charging. The human redirected the final cannon. One shot. The flagship split in silence. The invasion was over. Smoke covered the world. Wreckage drifted in orbit. The human collapsed near the control console. Scans showed life barely clinging on. Kether exhaled slowly. The galaxy had witnessed something new. A being who did not fight to survive. A being who fought to finish the fight. But the story was not over. Because across the fleet's shattered communication network, warnings were already spreading. One message repeated again and again. Avoid humans. Never corner them, and never assume they will surrender. Silence followed the hinsen. Battle. Not peace, just absence. The alien fleet was gone. What remained drifted as broken metal and fading heat. The colony world no longer burned. Kether stayed in orbit. He did not celebrate. Victory felt heavy. Scans confirmed the impossible. The human was still alive. Barely. Medical drones from Kether's ship descended carefully. The human did not resist. They did not even look up. Their body was ruined. Scars covered skin. Bones were damaged beyond clean repair. Yet the mind remained. Awake, Kether studied the data in silence. Other species would have shut down, given up, slipped into death. The human did not. Recovery took time. Long time. While the human healed, the galaxy reacted. The alien empire that launched the invasion collapsed inward. Commanders were blamed. Records were erased. Warnings were buried, but rumors moved faster than truth. Stories spread of a dead colony defended by one human. Of an invasion fleet destroyed without backup. Of soldiers who refused to advance even with full firepower. Military academies updated their simulations. Humans were added. In red. New rules appeared in classified files. Do not isolate humans. Do not corner humans. Do not rely on fear. Do not assume surrender. Most important of all. If a human stands alone, expect resistance. Kether finally met the human face to face. No weapons. No guards. He felt something close to shame. The human did not ask about the fleet. Did not ask about victory. They asked only one thing. Was the colony safe now? Kether answered yes. That was enough. When the human was strong enough, Kether helped send a signal. A simple one. Low power. Long-range. It carried no threat, no demand. Only proof. Humanity was still here. The message spread. Slowly, carefully. Some species dismissed it, called it an accident, a rare event. Others listened. Borders shifted. Plans changed. Wars were delayed, not because humans were strong, but because they were stubborn, because pain did not stop them, because loss did not break them, because death did not scare them away. Kether understood the galaxy now. It was still cruel, still unfair, but it had made one mistake. It had taught humans how to suffer, and humans had learned. As the human ship finally left the colony world, Kether watched it disappear into the stars. He knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would meet humanity again, and next time, humans would not stand alone.